Hi everybody, welcome to Catherine Sews. Thanks so much for joining me today. I have a bit of an emergency situation today because my friend and yoga buddy called me up and said, Catherine, I want to sew some pants today, but I don't know how to use my sewing machine. Okay, so I'm heading over to her house. Come along with me, and if I can teach her something, maybe I can teach you something along the way too. So let's go.
Hello!
Hey, come on in.
Oh, hello, Miss Oreo. How are you?
So excited we're sewing today.
Excited. I have a feeling we're not going to get to yoga. How long has it been since you've had this sewing machine out?
Oh, it's been 17 years.
17 years. Lindsay's house is so nice, right? So this is my friend Lindsay.
Hi. I could never get the tension right, so the string just kept breaking over and over and over.
Okay, we shall try. And by the way, it's thread, not string. So this is Lindsay's EuroPro, and you said it was how old?
At least 20 years.
At least 20 years old. And it has not probably been serviced in all that time.
Or used. Okay, I have my thread, not string.
Okay, and then you've got a thread holder back here. Oh, it's going to pop onto that. Oh, good. And then you've got the dotted line for the regular thread. It's this line, so you're going to tuck it. So it's going to go under, and then, yeah, that's this little knobby thing here. Yeah, that's right.
Like that?
Yeah, that's okay. And then straight down this line. Then you're going to follow this line right down, and you'll see here that there's an arrow coming around. You just follow up this line. You can use the wheel on the side. Turn the wheel towards you to raise up that silver hook. That's the thread uptake lever. And then make sure your thread is right in the end of that uptake lever. If it comes out of there, it's not going to stitch well. You follow this line right down. And then there's a thread guide right here that it tucks behind.
Oh, wow. I would never figured this out.
Here, your thread's going to just tuck behind that. And then there's another thread guide right at the top of your needle. You'll tuck behind that. Oh, there we go. Tuck behind that one. Okay, and then you're just going to thread your needle from front to back. Right in here is the lever to lift your presser foot. So you want it down just to give yourself a little bit more room for threading. And then you just want to get that thread right through the eye of the needle. Going to lift up and put your thread between the toes of the presser foot. I never have any luck with these automatic threaders, but here, Lindsay, you tell me how you do it.
So you pull this down, and then you pull it straight across, and you pull in the back, and it's going to make a little baby loop in the back of your thread, and you pull that towards.
Okay. Put the needle in the highest position. So I pull this down, get the thread in there, get it under there. Oh, there we go. Okay. Alrighty.
It's really handy.
Yeah, that's good. And then in between the toes of the foot. Just while we're here, these little symbols, this is for raising and lowering the feed dogs. The feed dogs are the little tiny teeth under here that help move the fabric along. 99% of the time you want them up. Like, I'm not even going to go into why you might want them down because it's so seldom. There's a bobbin in there. That's good. Oh, it's a bobbin.
I'm like, what's a bobbin? I really don't know.
Okay. All right. So there's two threads that connect to make a stitch, right? So the top thread connects with the bobbin thread to make a stitch.
Bottom.
Right.
Bottom bobbin.
Yeah. So then this is going to pull out and flip down. That's your little bobbin case. So a lot of machines are front dropping bobbin, but this has a bobbin case. Little Miss has come to join us, Miss Oreo. She's going to learn how to sew. So you're going to open up that arm, pull that bobbin out. And then your bobbin is going to go with thread coming off the top to the right. On a front dropping bobbin, it's off to the left, it goes down. But on a bobbin case, it's off the top to the right. Hold the little arm out, pop your bobbin in, and then into that little slot here, that little notch. Oh, sorry, Miss Oreo, am I boring you? Till it clicks and comes out of that hole there. Good thing is we're videotaping this, so you can always review the video.
I really am. No, I'm not. You see my eye?
Okay. Then you've got the little arm here. You will pull that little arm out so that you can get it back in place. And kind of give it a little wiggle until it clicks into place.
Okay.
Okay? Your needle's at the highest position still. And now is when we're going to use the top thread to fish this bobbin thread up. Now I'm going to hold this top thread, drop the needle down. I'm turning the wheel towards me on the right here. I'm turning the flywheel, drop the needle down, and you'll see that thread coming around. That's the top thread coming around to pick up the bobbin thread. And there we go.
Oh, that's much better.
Right, there we go. But now you've got both threads ready to go. They're going to go off to your right. And then we're ready to sew.
Yay!
Yay! Oh, and we need to plug this in.
Oh. I'm like, ready to go. I was not joking. You thought I was joking. I'm like, no, I'm not joking.
Hopefully they have some electrical cords for it and a foot pedal.
Yeah, I do.
So you probably have a power button on the right.
Oh, yeah. What are the difference of the wheels? There's 2 wheels.
Oh, this is probably like a stitch selector. On the side here, you've got your regular flywheel. This is the wheel that's going to move the needle up and down. But then this wheel changes the stitch. So here in this little circle, you'll see the stitch display. So right now, it's on a buttonhole stitch. That'll go through all of your different stitches that correspond to what's up here. So I just want to be on a straight stitch. So I want this to be on A. There. This S here would mean these for stretch. These are all good for stretch stitches. Oh, that's interesting. I've never seen that before in a machine. It's showing for a double needle. So you can use a double needle. We'll get into that another time, but that's what those bottom pictures are. If you've got 2 needles, they'll do that zigzag right parallel to each other. So that can give you a really nice effect, like for a decorative stitch. You can have 2 different colors thread in those 2 needles. So these are the pants you want to make?
These are. So they've got the flap and the leg opens up.
That's so cute. So cute. So you want to duplicate these, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So you ordered these ones online, and what was the problem?
They're too small, and the fabric's too thin.
Too thin and too like clingy.
See-through.
But they're super cute. And this is a perfect project to duplicate because it's just one big simple shape. You cut 2 of those, and that's a perfect little project. So this is the fabric you wanted to do it in?
Yeah.
And it's
what's wrong with my fabric?
The pants are a stretch knit, and this is a woven, so it has no stretch at all. And it doesn't have like the light flowy feel that you probably are hoping for.
Yes.
So I would save this for a different project.
Okay.
And get a knit, like really a nice bamboo knit or something like that. White's always hard. It always ends up being sheer. So it's white pants are always like a nightmare. So maybe a different color, but like a nice bamboo knit would be good.
Okay.
This one is a swimsuit fabric, and it's a 4-way stretch. And this is like, I'm not going to say you can't sew it, but if you're ever going to have problems with tension and your needle and skipping stitches, this is when you're going to have it.
Oh.
So do you have anything that's just like a basic woven fabric just for practice? Okay, good. Because I find with beginners that they don't know if the problem is them or the machine or the fabric or the needle. And sometimes they blame themselves when really they're not the problem. It's the tools that they're working with. Here comes the whole basket of fabrics. And now like just like woven cotton, right? Nothing just straight up normal. So you have ambitions. Like you've got a lot of projects going on here. I do. I still have so. I'm still hoping to find this like a basic cotton.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
There we go. Basic cotton. This is the raw edge. It's all yucky. And then this is the selvage edge that's woven in. Okay, so let's just sew beside the selvage edge, just so you don't have to worry about all the yucky stuff. So we'll double it up just so that it feels like a normal seam. So you want to bring this line. Oh, I've never seen a machine like that. The needle plate has the lines for your seam allowances, but they're not labeled. There's no numbers on them. That's so not handy. So we'll just go to the first one. That looks about like the 5/8 line, I think. To be able to sew straight, you want to keep your edge on that line. That's your ruler. And just go a couple of stitches and then stop, and then you're going to find your reverse. So that's your reverse button. Push that and sew back. Like hold that reverse button and sew back to the beginning again. Good. And now you're going to continue to sew. So sew a couple of stitches. Okay, so just pause for a second. Bring your edges back together. Good. All right, you'll just sew straight with the edge on that same. Okay, so you're going to sew to the end and then reverse for about 3 or 4 stitches.
There?
Maybe 1 or 2 more, and then backwards. Yeah. And let go, and then sew to the end again. Okay, and then you lift up and pull out about 6 inches of thread.
Which one lift up?
This side there, then. Oh, this one.
Oh,
there.
that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and do I wind this?
Yeah, you can turn the wheel so the needle's in the highest position.
Is there a cutter?
Yes, you got to cut it right there. Excellent. There, you're so clean.
I'm very proud.
Yes, you're so If you can do that, you can sew.
I think it's fabulous.
I think it's fabulous too. So it is a good idea if you have an older machine to just take it into a sewing machine repair shop and just ask them to service it. And they'll go through, oil it, clean it up, and it will sew a lot smoother. Because right now it does sound like you've got a couple of budgies in it. It shouldn't have that squeaky noise.
Is the tension and stitch width, and is that right? Is that good?
So this one is just your tension, and that we almost never touch that. It's going to be always between 3 and 4, as long as your stitches are balanced, where the top thread and the bobbin thread are kind of in balance and not showing more one than the other on one side. The stitch width, so see here at 0, it's got this little oval with a dot in it. That means that the needle is going to be in the center. And then if we go way over here, so as I move that back and forth, that you can see the needle moving back and forth. Could do a straight stitch, so it has no width, but you're way over on 5, so it's going to be doing that straight stitch along the left. Like it'll increase the width of your seam allowance. And then your stitch length is here, and 3 is normal, like 2.5 to 3 is like normal stitching. If we get into something like basting or gathering, you're going to want your long stitch length. And usually around between 2 and 3 is good. We could wind a bobbin. So the bobbin that we've been working with, you can see it has this aqua thread and underneath it is white thread. And I really don't recommend that you wind one color on top of another color. Just get yourself a good collection of bobbins and just wind a bobbin that you need. Lindsay doesn't have an empty bobbin, so I just want to show them how to wind one. Your thread starts off in the normal place, and instead of using that line, we're going to be following this little line here. So you're coming this way and around. So you can see that it starts over here on this side of this ring and then comes around. So it wraps around that to put enough tension on the thread to make a good bobbin. We're just going to pretend that this is an empty bobbin. You're going to take your thread and come up out of the bobbin, not down into it, but up out of the bobbin like that. It's going to go onto that winder. Now, this is the first machine I've ever seen that actually says sewing and bobbin winding. That's pretty handy.
Oh, that's easy.
Yep. And then you just push that then toward bobbin winding, and you'll just be able to wind until it's full. And then you'll just cut your thread and push it back to sewing, and then you're ready to go. So I've cut this fabric in a curve, and I'm going to sew a little curve for Lindsay, and then she's going to sew one. So to pin, I like to put the head of the pin out at the edge, and you just got to put your pin in and back out. So the pins are horizontal to where you're going to be sewing. Good. And about every hand width or so like that. And then once you're comfortable with sewing, you'll use fewer and fewer pins. So over here, it's the same thing that you did when you were sewing the straight edge. We want to keep our edges together and at that same guideline. Okay. And when you're using pins, you want to take out the pins as you get to them. So I'm taking out the first pin right away. Oh, still sounds so squeaky.
It's okay. It's okay, EuroPro. We love you.
I'm steering to keep the edge on that line. And if I can't see the line, I got to steer my way back so I can see. And just pause to take out your pin.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And then lift. You can wiggle the wheel to disengage the thread. Sometimes there's like 3 or 4 threads. Disengage like that, and then use your cutter. Okay.
Oh, wow.
You feel good about that?
Yeah.
Okay. I want you to be at the same seam allowance though. So I'm going to cut that off so that you can kind of sew the same way. Your scissors are... You're going to need new scissors to cut out your pants too. I'm chewing my way across here. Yeah, you know, these scissors are good. Okay, so here, try putting your pins back in, and then you're going to sew that curve.
And am I starting down?
You'll start right at the top, And you'll go right to it.
Like start up here?
Yeah, your first pin can go there. That's
okay. And then same, the pin is near the top when I'm doing.
Yeah, that's right. Looking good.
It won't be as pretty as yours, but I'll try. Do I start with my threads in the back?
Yeah, off to the right so that you can almost hold them with your right hand for the first few stitches. Get your edge of your fabric up to your guideline, right?
Oh, right.
Yeah, that's it. Good job. Good job. And pause and then do your reverse.
And why are we doing the reverse?
Oh, that's how you tie a knot at the beginning and end. So, and you should technically go right back to the beginning. Otherwise, that beginning is not secured. So reverse your way right back to the beginning. There you go. Okay. So it only has to be like 3 stitches forward, 3 back. Okay. But no, can you see your line?
Then go back?
Yep. Well done.
Right.
And lift up. Pull up.
We start with cutter.
Good job. Yay. Yay, Lindsay sewed a beautiful scarf. Yay. Now we're going to sew a pivot, which is like going around a corner. Okay, so I'm going to just cut us like a little corner here. In fact, these scissors are so bad, I'm going to just tear. I don't have to cut. Alright, let's just tear a good little corner. Okay. When you tear fabric like that, it tears right between 2 yarns of the fabric, and so it'll always tear straight. Okay, so do you want me to do one and then you do one? Okay, so now we're going to do a pivot, which is like, you're sporty, so you understand that when you're playing basketball and you pivot, one foot has to stay planted, right? And the other one moves around. So the foot that stays planted is the needle. I like to hold the threads actually for the first few stitches just so they don't get tangled underneath. Go there, 3 stitches back. I like to pick up again just so it doesn't get sucked in there. I can pull it along a little bit. Good. Okay. So now I'm going to come down here at that 5/8 line or 15 line. And then when I think that my needle is the same from this edge as it is from this edge. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you can even use the wheel, walk it forward 1 more stitch, wherever you think you're good. So I'm going to lift up and see if I'm in the same place. And just turn. So that needle stays planted and holds it good. 1 more stitch. There, now I feel like I'm the same. Good. And a little reverse at the end.
Fancy.
Right. Lift the needle until it's high. Pull that to your 6 inches or so and cut. Good? Want to try that?
I'm like very quiet. Very quiet.
It's all good. It's all good.
I'm going to put my material in.
Yeah. If you want to be at, let's call it the 15 line, even though it doesn't have a number. It would be, yeah, that line. And start at the beginning. Don't miss the first half inch.
Okay, and go forward a little bit.
Yeah,
reverse.
just like 3 stitches and then back.
3.
Yep.
Back 3. And hold these.
Yeah. Slow right down. And then you can just slowly go another stitch or 2. Yep. Yeah, walk it with the wheel if you want to.
And do I pivot with the needle down?
That's right. That's your planted foot. That's it.
And lift this up.
Yep. Good.
Fancy. And do I go all the way?
You might as well go right to the end and do it. But look, it's perfect. You did great. I'm going to show the camera. There's Lindsay's perfect little pivot. Good job, Lindsay. Thank you. So you know what assignment I'm going to give you until next time?
Okay.
I'm going to send you back to, I think it was my very first video, where you make a little tissue cover. And you can watch that video and you can do everything in there. You know how to do everything.
Yay. Thanks,
okay.
Catherine.
Bye-bye.